If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Tank Davis or Jake Paul. So immediately, yeah, a normal layman would say, oh, Tank Davis is better. But better at what?
Jake Paul is unequivocally the most successful fighter in history 4 years in. No one comes close. No one.
The Jake Paul versus GervontaDavis fight has reportedly been confirmed. According to Jake, it will be an exhibition match and is nearly finalized. The bout is scheduled to take place after Davis's rematch with Lamont Roach. Excitement is building, with fans eager to see these two stars finally clash in the ring. Promotional material is already in the works, and both camps seem ready to move forward once Tank handles his upcoming fight.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195.
Oh, wow. So he would go all the way from 40 to 95?
Yeah, I mean, it would be an exhibition.
Okay. And so what does that mean? Is that 3-minute rounds?
Yeah, 10 3-minute rounds.
And when you say exhibition, like, what are the restrictions on that?
No restrictions, just the fact that like we couldn't actually get it professionally sanctioned.
Okay. Is that still of interest to you? Like, if he wins the rematch and you beat Julio, is that of great interest to you later this year?
For sure. Like I said, big events. And, you know, when we had announcement videos filmed for Canelo and for Gervonta, like both filmed and fully edited. And my team went into the streets to ask people what they thought of me versus Gervonta. Every single person was like, Gervonta would kill Jake. He's going to die, all of this stuff. And so just proving people wrong and changing the narrative and showing people that I'm a better boxer than all of these so-called pound for pound is just fun for me.
Jake Paul's victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. marked the turning point in his boxing journey. With this win, he secured a spot among the top 15 cruiserweights, a massive achievement for someone once dismissed. As a YouTuber turned boxer, now world champions can no longer overlook him. Jake's rise from exhibition fighter to ranked contender proves how far he's come in a short time, changing the conversation around his legitimacy in the sport.
So now that Jake Paul won his fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he's apparently ranked top 15 cruiserweights in the world. And apparently, I guess now, world champions are able to fight voluntarily to defend their championship against Jake Paul. Which, if I'm being honest, that's kind of crazy, bro. Isn't that crazy? Right? You're telling me you fought somebody that's not a natural cruiserweight, right? And now you're automatically ranked top 15 and you could fight a couple of world champions and it makes sense. Not that I think he beats any of them. I'm gonna be completely honest. I can't see it, bro. If Jake ends up beating somebody, yo, shout out to him. He finessed his way to the fucking top and a world champion and really like cemented himself into the history books. But the way that he boxes, he's just very sluggish. It's kind of slow. You know, I think any cruiserweight world champion, even Badu Jack, will defeat him. And I actually don't even understand why he even wants to fight Anthony Joshua. Besides the bag, obviously. But what do you guys think, though? This whole shit has gone crazy.
The idea of Jake Paul facing GervontaDavis has been circulating in boxing circles for a while. Jake, known for bold moves, reignited that buzz when he publicly challenged Davis at the post-fight press conference during Mike Tyson's event. This wasn't just for show, it reflected Jake's confidence and ambition to face elite competition. With talks ongoing between both camps, speculation is mounting over whether this high-profile matchup will actually happen.
You were an interested observer on the Netflix event, Paul versus Tyson.
Why would he even want to fight him? And who told Mike Tyson to fight anyway?
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him, this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up? What up, Jake Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Tyson Fury, never one to hold back, shared his thoughts on a possible Jake Paul versus GervontaDavis fight. He questioned why so many assume Tank is the superior fighter. Asking what exactly makes him better, Fury praised Jake's Promotional. Genius his ability to turn every match into a spectacle with huge pay-per-view numbers and global buzz. His point, in today's boxing world, business matters just as much as talent, and Jake excels at both.
Anyone who don't think it's a fantastic event is jealous. Who's better, at Tank Davis or JakePaul? So, immediately, yeah, a normal layman would say, oh, Tank Davis is better. But better at what? Is he better at selling tickets? Is he better at selling stadiums out? Is he better at creating controversy? Is he better at getting followed on Instagram? Is he better at putting more eyeballs on the boxing? Is he better than him at that? The answer would be no. But is he better at him in a fight? It has to be really, you have to break it down. You know what I mean?
Jake Paul's evolution isn't limited to the ring. His promotional skills are reshaping boxing's marketing approach through social media, brand partnerships, and collaborations with platforms like Netflix. He's created a modern blueprint for building hype and reaching fans. Jake doesn't just promote himself, he draws attention to undercard fighters and helps the sport grow. Even veteran pros recognize his ability to fill arenas and elevate events.
Jake Paul is unequivocally the most successful fighter in history 4 years in. No one comes close. No one. You couldn't list one that comes close, including Brock Lesnar if you include his WWE career. 4 years in terms of what he's done in terms of box office, pay-per-view, impact, helping other boxers, because he had platform, he had awareness, and he's got the focus and discipline to drive with it.
Comparisons between Jake Paul versus GervontaDavis and Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather are inevitable, but there are key differences. Jake has demonstrated more technical skill and commitment to boxing than his brother. His size, advantage over. Tank also adds intrigue, with steady improvements in power, footwork, and composure. This matchup wouldn't be just for show, it could turn into a real, competitive test for both fighters.
So a Tank Davis versus Jake Paul exhibition match was going to take place after the Lamont Roach fight, until Tank drew with Roach, leading to a rematch. Now, I'm going to say the unpopular opinion here, but the size difference would have been way too much. I mean, even if Tank brought Jake down to 190 or 200 pounds, he would have still been way too big. I mean, no matter how good a lightweight is, they would have almost no chance against a cruiserweight or heavyweight ranked top 200 in his division. And I'm sure people are going to bring up Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, but Logan is just not a good boxer relative to Jake. You know, Jake's been training for a couple years, he's had over 10 pro fights, and Mayweather was also junior middleweight in this fight, not in lightweight like Tank. But that being said, I'm glad Tank and Jake isn't happening. You know, it would have been a fun spectacle, but I'm not the biggest fan of the exhibition stuff. And instead now Tank and Roach will be rematching in June. You know, the first fight did a little over 260,000 pay-per-view buys, which isn't bad in this market. Roach absolutely deserves a second fight, so I do think the rematch will do far more numbers. And as for Jake, I want to see him fight big-name boxers around his weight class. You know, the Tommy Fury rematch, for example, he's undefeated. The first fight did a little over 800,000 pay-per-view buys. He's around the same age range, so that's the fight I want to see, not the exhibitions. But let me know what you guys think.
The debate continues over whether GervontaDavis would agree to a fight with Jake Paul. Supporters argue that, as a prize fighter, Tank should follow the money and accept big challenges. But his past decision to decline Shocker Stevenson's offer reportedly, due to location, raises doubts. Some fans now believe Tank may only accept fights that fit his personal terms. And a bout with Jake may not happen unless everything aligns perfectly.
I've been told y'all Gervonta Tank Davis isn't a prize fighter. I know a lot of you guys say, well, he doesn't fight for belts. He doesn't fight for legacy. He fights for money. He's a prize fighter, Jerry. And I'm going to assume a prize fighter is a guy who is solely making fights based off of cash reward. He'd rather fight a bum for 50 million than fight a guy who's experienced for 10 million. That is what a prize fighter would be. Actual definition, a professional boxer who competes in matches for money prizes. So let's take a look at it. Turki Al-Sheikh has declared he wants to make Tank versus Shakur. He says, my plan for Shakur is this fight. He's referring to Floyd Schofield, then Williams Zepeda, and then let's see if Tank wants to be in our show. Tank's not going to fight Shakur. He's not going to fight him in Saudi Arabia. So now that we've established Tank isn't a prize fighter, because if he was, his career resume would look a whole lot different, then we must ask, what is Tank's goal in boxing? I'll tell you right now, it's easy money. Tank is the type of guy, he'd rather fight, let's say, 4 Lamont Roaches for 20 million than fight 1 Shakur Stevenson for 80 million, which is fine. But I'm tired of people saying, oh, he's a prize fighter. That's why he's not taking these fights. He's not a prize fighter. The biggest money fights is Haney, Ryan, Tio, Shakur, and Loma. He's not even going to take half of those fights. So please, guys, all my Tank fans, all my guys who claim Tank is a prize fighter, that's why he's not fighting for the belts, please stop it. This guy's not a legacy fighter. He's not a prize fighter. He's just a guy who enjoys easy paydays. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Just stop misleading people with your comments.
GervontaDavis typically fights below the lightweight limit, and jumping to Jake Paul's weight class would be a massive leap. Jake fights around 190 to 200 pounds, a totally different level. For Tank to face him, he'd need a full adjustment in training, size, and strategy. The physical gap between them would make this a highly unorthodox and risky challenge for Davis.
Okay, this is my personal take on it. I've been saying for a while that Gervonta Tank Davis needs to go up to 140 and challenge himself. Now, a lot of the fanboys, you Gervonta Tank Davis fanboys, called me a hater for that because y'all just don't get it. And I don't really blame fanboys. Fanboys are followers. So when you hear somebody talk with his own mind, talk like a leader, they're immediately unidentifiable. So you guys see him as a hater, all right? The truth of the matter is, Gervonta Tank Davis is a big-time predator. He's a big-time predator who needs to hunt big-time game. There are fighters who are just generational talents, right? And those fighters, they must get it all, have it all. And I know a lot of you guys will see it as money, right? Because y'all just not made of that stuff. And I've been trying to say it in live streams. I've been trying to say it in videos. I've been talking about boxing in a way from a perspective of big time fighters, big time legacy, and what makes a warrior from when they're small. Gervonta Tank Davis has been a beast for as long as he remembers.
Despite his talent and popularity, GervontaDavis is not currently ranked among the top 10 pound-for-pound lightweights. This surprises many, given his strong performances. Some wonder whether a fight with Jake Paul would help elevate his standing or harm his legacy. Would it be seen as a fresh challenge or dismissed as a sideshow that takes him away from the serious business of boxing?
GervontaDavis is not a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter right now. He's arguably not even in the top 10 pound-for-pound right now. Despite how cool this picture is, it does not get him into the pound-for-pound list. Even though we could say that he could probably beat everyone in the lightweight division, even though I think he loses to Shakur, he hasn't done it, and he probably isn't going to do it. But what would it take for him to get to the number 1 pound-for-pound spot? Let's go over what he would have to do to reach number 1. Well, first off, he'd obviously have to go undisputed in the lightweight division. And even though that would be great, I think that only cracks him like number 4. Because the only one in the top 10 pound-for-pound in the lightweight division is maybe Shakur. But realistically, he's going to have to do more than just go undisputed in the lightweight division. So obviously, he'd have to go up to 140 because there's no way he's making 130. And then he'd have to beat a dude like Teofimo, and he'd probably have to beat Devin Haney as well. And I think that could probably get him the number 1 spot. But yeah, we can sit here and say Tank is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters right now, which I think he's one of the most talented, and I think he could do most of what I said. However, hypotheticals aren't going to work with pound-for-pound listing.
Jake Paul has made it clear that any fight with GervontaDavis will only happen after Davis settles his rematch with Lamont Roach. That fight is crucial to Tank's career, and understandably his current focus. Once that's out of the way, both sides can seriously consider moving forward. Fans are watching closely to see if this long-discussed showdown finally comes to life, especially after Jake's praiseworthy win over Chavez Jr.
But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
How real or what was to it with you and Tank actually being a thing? Was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen. But he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
Boxing legend Shane Mosley had high praise for Jake Paul following his win over Chavez Jr. He complimented Jake's movement and work ethic, saying it was clear he put in the time to improve, In contrast, Mosley criticized Chavez Jr.'s performance, calling it strange and suggesting it might be time for him to walk away from the sport. The difference in how the two fighters were received says a lot about their current paths.
It's Fight Up TV. Being joined with Sugar Shane Mosley, Jake Paul, getting a unanimous decision over Chavez Jr. What are your impressions, Shanes, of how the fight went and how, especially Junior fought?
Well, first of all, I think that Jake Paul fought a great fight. You know, he moved around the way he's supposed to, throwing great punches, and for the experience he had, he did fantastic. Junior, on the other hand, he didn't throw any punches until the third or fourth round or something. He was just kind of walking forward, and I don't know what he was doing. It was weird. It was weird to see that type of fighting, but anywho, that's not Jake Paul's fault. So Jake Paul did what he needed to do, and he won, and he looked good.
Where do you think Junior goes from here, in your opinion, Shane?
Junior needs to retire from here.
Junior needs to retire.
He needs to retire. I mean, if you can't throw any punches in 2, 3, 4 rounds, you need to retire. I mean, if you can, what are you doing? What are we doing? You just living off your father's name. Yeah. That's basically what you do, because you didn't even fight until the last round, maybe the last 2 rounds, and threw some punches, and you had some success when you threw some punches. It's the weirdest thing ever.
After his win, Jake Paul made sure his critics heard him loud and clear. Many had doubted whether he could handle pressure or real opposition, but he proved them wrong. Jake absorbed punches, stayed composed, and came out victorious. This wasn't just another win. It was a statement. He's no longer just a celebrity dabbling in boxing. He's a real contender earning hard-won respect.
It's between you and Cesar Chavez Jr. tonight. Now, in round 9, the heat really turned up. Did you feel the Mexican power that he promised, or do you feel like he didn't perform the way you thought that he would?
No, yeah, he brought a hard fight there at the end, and that's that Mexican warrior style. I don't know how he was eating all those punches, to be honest. My hands low-key hurt from his face, and so respect to him. He had good cardio, and he came on strong at the end. He's a very, very strong guy, had a lot of power, but people underestimate my chin and my ability and my toughness.
Jake, Jonathan Agger of Pro Boxing Fans. During the week, you had a viral interview with Piers Morgan where he said that he didn't think that you would beat Chavez. He felt like when you fight a former world champion, you'll come unstuck. What did you prove to not only him but other people that have criticized you?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words, so people can sit behind their desks and sit on their TV shows and say a lot of things about my career, but everyone's tuning in, everyone's watching, and I just continue to win.
Following Jake Paul's performance, rising fighter Rio Valenzuela publicly congratulated him. As someone active in the sport, Rio's opinion carries weight. He said Jake's showing proved he belongs in the top 15 or 20 in his weight class. That kind of respect from within the boxing community signals something big. Jake Paul is now being taken seriously by people who once wrote him off.